Welcome to the Scientific Montessori podcast, where we translate the latest academic research into Montessori-aligned practices and share insights to make parenting dramatically easier. This episode brings you the audio version of our article, Real Work. To explore more articles, visit scientificmontessori.com.
Today's theme for the 3 to 6 age group is real work.
As opposed to fake work, right? Not pretend cooking, actually making real food, cleaning, tidying up, doing laundry, and so on.
Yeah, Western educators make a big deal out of this and call it practical life exercises. But honestly, why not just call it daily life?
I get why they want to add the word exercises, though.
The key point is the work itself. So what kind of work? Work that uses the hands. Do plenty of hands-on work, and you're all set.
Well, then that wraps up our 3 to 6 discussion.
I'm being told this isn't very scientific.
All right, let's dig deeper into what real work means.
Instead of heading toward toys, fantasy, or video games, do as much real stuff as possible. The best environment for that? A farm.
Farms are overflowing with real work.
Harvesting vegetables, tilling soil, hauling what you've picked, sorting produce, packing boxes. There's all sorts of work kids can do. And here's a classic farm kid confession. I was made to help out constantly. And honestly, I hated it.
So you didn't like it. But there's work at just the right difficulty level for children aged 3 to 6, and that's rare. Most real work is either too hard or too dangerous for young children.
Right. On a Montessori-related note, Maria Montessori, pretty much abandoned her own son.
Phrasing.
She placed her son with a farming family.
True. When I first heard that, I thought how painful it must have been for her not to practice her own educational ideas with her son. But once I understood farm life, it made so much sense. I almost wondered if she did it on purpose. Maybe the Children's House was modeled after children on a farm.
She probably did choose it deliberately, partly because of the rural setting and partly the idea that if you want something done, ask a busy person. If you need someone to raise a child, ask people who raise things for a living.
Exactly. It's all connected. Humans are part of nature, so someone skilled at nurturing plants is often good at nurturing children too.
Right. When we say farm, we tend to picture just crops, but traditional farms raised livestock as well.
Cows, horses, they used to put them to work. If you can get a cow or horse to work, maybe getting a child aged 3 to 6 to pitch in isn't so hard after all.
Here's another Montessori-related anecdote. Jeff Bezos is famous as a Montessori child.
You comes up almost every issue. The founder of Amazon.
Bezos didn't attend Montessori Elementary, but when he was young, his mother remarried and his maternal grandfather, a former military officer, started a ranch in Texas after retiring.
You know a lot about this.
Every summer, Bezos went to that ranch. He did farm chores like building things, even constructing a crane, I heard, all while working alongside his grandfather. He loved it, and he kept going back every summer from age 4 until about 16 or 17.
So he got his secondary experience there too.
Exactly. As a young child, Bezos went to a Montessori preschool. For elementary, he was in a gifted program called the Vanguard Program, which nurtured curiosity and exploration, but he never did Montessori Elementary. Still, he had plenty of real work experience on that ranch. That's where he learned how to work.
I see.
Bezos has said that time was the best. All kinds of tasks, castrating livestock, treating his own injuries. He did it all. They'd start early in the morning, then break for lunch at the house and watch soap operas on TV together. He said he loved that.
Sounds like a Japanese summer vacation.
Remember those shows that came on at 1 and 1:30? America had the same kind of thing. On rainy days, he'd go to the library, which was full of science fiction novels. He'd read them endlessly and let his imagination roam.
That's a great balance.
Totally. Pretty ideal, actually. Farm work plus intellectual stimulation. Plow when it's sunny, read when it rains. Now Bezos is focused on space. This is turning into a Bezos biography rather than Montessori talk, but he runs Blue Origin, a company building spacecraft for space transport. By the way, he hasn't retired from Amazon. What sparked it all? watching the Apollo moon landing at his grandfather's house when he was 5.
In Montessori terms, that's right in the hero worship period, when children find role models.
Right. Astronauts, aerospace engineers, rocket scientists became his heroes, and Bezos headed into the STEM world.
Even without Montessori Elementary, he gave himself a cosmic education.
Exactly. That's why Blue Origin's rockets are named after legendary astronauts, like New Shepard, New Armstrong, and so on.
I didn't know that.
He's serious about it.
Speaking of our 0 to 3 discussion, does Bezos have big hands?
I'll let everyone look that up themselves. But he's surprisingly short. His laugh, though, is huge.
As for whether his brain is big, well, he writes beautifully. There's a piece he posted on Twitter when he launched the Montessori-inspired Day One preschool, and it's definitely worth reading. He also tells Amazon employees to write long documents.
No PowerPoint, write a 6-page memo. That's brutal for people who can't write.
I couldn't work at Amazon.
Apparently, many Americans can't write, or read for that matter.
Really?
That's partly why AI writing is such a big deal right now. Lots of people struggle with reading and writing, so these tools are popular. When someone says keep emails short, it's often because they can't handle long text. They blame being busy or short on time, but the real issue is that long reading feels painful. Hence the appeal of 140-character limits and photo or video-based social media.
Makes sense.
Anyway, I got sidetracked. The point is, Bezos grew up doing real work. He's also involved with the Long Now Foundation and helped build the 10,000-year clock.
A clock that chimes a different tone every day for 10,000 years. On the site, Bezos, again writing beautifully, describes the clock as a symbol for long-term thinking.
He's also donated around $200 million to the Smithsonian to help build museums.
Of that, $70 million went towards renovating the National Air and Space Museum in Washington, and $130 million funded a new educational facility called the Bezos Learning Center. It sounds like a museum-based learning space. Maria Montessori once said, "The school should have a museum of machines. The machine should be of a suitable size for children to take apart and reassemble, to use and repair." This center might embody some of those ideas.
Amazon's headquarters also has a greenhouse called the Spheres, where they collect plants from around the world and conserve species.
So even as an adult, he keeps doing real work.
Exactly.
I feel like children's natural interest in real work is being commercially co-opted. When their imagination blossoms and they become curious about people in other countries, their lifestyles, clothing, and cuisine, that interest gets hijacked by Disney princess dresses. But when that curiosity emerges, I also wonder, what counts as real work in that context? Montessori has map materials and tools that show how people live around the world, but still.
Maybe the real work is making friends around the world. On a related note, I think it was Will Wright who said there are 2 types of people, producers and consumers. When something moves you, some people say, "Wow, that was amazing," and stop there. Others say, "Great, I'll use this as inspiration and make something myself."
Like reading a great manga and starting to draw your own.
Or eating delicious food and deciding to cook it yourself. So the Disney thing is more about people who tend to consume. Consumers, in a way, are at a disadvantage. You could say their hands haven't developed fully.
Instead of buying the dress, you could design and make your own. This connects to something Maria Montessori wrote. Love guides the child not toward possessing things, but toward the work that can be accomplished with them. And once work begins, people engage with one another because no one can work alone. This is how life evolves. Interesting work elevates the individual and enhances the value of personality. She continues, but if the individual is prevented from acting, love turns into possessiveness. And instead of cooperation, there is conflict. Instead of collaboration, opposition arises. This great revelation comes from the child.
Heavy.
And then there are 2 paths of personality development: becoming a person who loves or becoming a person trapped by possessions, becoming independent and working in harmony with others, or becoming a slave to possessions and hating others. These correspond to good and evil, heaven and hell. One path leads to supernatural perfection, the other leads to degradation below our true nature.
That's long. I'm not good with long texts. Could you summarize it a bit?
Oh, come on.
Seriously, though, AI isn't the only thing advancing. Robots are too. Household robots are already here, so how we relate to AI and robots is becoming an important question. They shouldn't just be servants. We need to become friends with them. Cooperation instead of competition.
With a kind heart.
Exactly. And for that, as we discussed in the Brain Issue, we need to train the prefrontal cortex, and that means working with our hands.
I'd like to add a few points we didn't cover in the 0 to 3 article about spending time in nature, since it's relevant to the 3 to 6 stage as well. Researchers have long studied how early nature experiences influence later biophilia and environmental attitudes. Nature experiences are associated with improved cognitive function and academic performance, as well as lower rates of mental illness in children.
Interesting.
Maria Montessori also recommended Boy Scout-style activities for elementary-aged children, and I think this applies to 5- and 6-year-olds too. Kids who are hooked on Minecraft may actually be interested in a real-life survival.
Scouting is survival training. What to do if you get lost in the woods, how to survive if you're swept away by a river, how to tie knots, how to secure drinking water and food. Practical knowledge.
We don't know any of that, do we?
I've been learning from the blog of Yajin Mu, a Japanese survivalist blogger who writes about wilderness skills, but I still have a long way to go.
Let's explore this further in an upcoming issue on nature education.
To sum up, the more real work you do, the more your hands develop. And the more your hands develop, the better you get at real work. Whether children enter that positive cycle determines whether they grow into people who do great work or merely consume commercial products. It sounds harsh, but that's the message in Montessori's writings.
True. Maria Montessori was always saying things that stirred controversy.
Indeed. And we'd like to keep stirring things up ourselves.
As advocates for children.
Thank you for listening to the Scientific Montessori podcast. We hope today's episode helped you see how research and Montessori principles can make parenting simpler and more meaningful. For more articles and resources, visit scientificmontessori.com and join us again next time.